morning everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to give a little tutorial on the construction of the base of this stacked envelope file folder journal that so many people requested and loved, which just makes my heart sing. So thank you so much everyone in all the Facebook groups and on my YouTube channel that asked me to do the tutorial. When I put it out there and said, if you'd like a tutorial, let me know, and the response has been fantastic. So without further ado, I'll try and be precise. Right, so we're just going to do this on the construction, and then I thought when the construction is done, we will then do another video perhaps with a craft with me where we'll actually make it all pretty and beautiful, because the construction is the most important thing, isn't it? So you're going to need one file folder. Now, a lady asked me last night what kind of file folder. It's a manila file folder. I got this pack from they're Anko, and I got them from Kmart, I think, or maybe Choice. Full scap manila folders in a 10 pack, and they were like $2 for a 10 pack, so they're nice and flimsy. The only thing I find is in Australia I can't get the tabs on the side, so that's all right, we'll make our own, because I think the tabs do look great. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine too. As you might remember, in here I've got 2 tabs at the top. So right, okay, back to the construction. We're going right, okay, so we're going to need the file folder, and then we're going to need 6 envelopes with the flaps, with the flaps, because it's the flaps that will be stuck to each other, which then make it so much easier to have the hinge. Right, so 6 envelopes with the flaps attached. And then you're going to need book pages. Doesn't matter what size, but if you've got some larger ones, these are out of an old dictionary, I think, and they're just really good. They're a great size, and the writing's nice and small. But any book pages, and then your choice of pretty digitals, and then of course, some people don't like to ink, some people do. I'm definitely an inker, and vintage photo is my go-to. So I've said that, yeah, you probably would be wise to have some ink. And then you're going to need some glue, of course. Now, not only, but for any project, I like to make sure it's stuck. I use the art glitter glue. I know it's expensive, but you use whatever glue works for you. Tacky, any wet glue, I find bubbles, and so just use a dry glue, either a glue stick or the art glitter glue, I would recommend. But you do what you do. As Tim Holt says, you do you. Then you're going to need some seam binding for the closures. Now, this one, I've got the 2 closures here. They're actually 8 or 9 inches long, each strip, and a colour of your choice that you want happy to work with. I'm going to stick with this one because it's the most I've got. Actually, I've got to order some more. So you're going to need 2 of those, and then you're going to need a long one, because the one that holds the envelopes, we will glue it down under the envelopes and under the paper, and then just tie it in one. So that would I'll measure it later when we get to that situation. But yeah, you're going to need those, because one of the first steps we're going to do is sew, and I have said it'd be wise to sew, but a lot of people don't have a sewing machine. If you use the art glitter glue, you could really do a really strong glue for the side, which is fine. And then I was thinking you could use your awl if you wanted to, and you could actually glue and lace the edges. So I'll leave that up to your imagination on how you glue these sides down in a minute. But yeah, a sewing machine is just so quick and easy if you've got one. But if you haven't, don't worry, there's always a way around. Okay, so the step first step we're going to do is we're going to take the file folder horizontally, not vertically, horizontally, and then all we're going to do is fold it over and fold. Ta-da! Just get my bone folder because I need the extra strength. Right, so there you have your main book. So, I should stop saying so. Oh lordy, it's a bad habit, isn't it? Now, if you want the tabs, now's the time to put them in. So, what I did was I marked 2 inches approximately there. I just took a pencil and I came in. I thought a tab on this side would be great, and then I want a tab on this side, but I don't want it in the same place. I want it to be here. So I worked out that I want it there, and then all I'm going to do is take a pair of scissors, and what I'm going to do is, I hope you can see this, I'm going to cut this out. So I'm going to cut that out, and then I'm going to cut this bit out. So then I'll have 2 tabs. Right, so let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so then you're going to be left with something that looks like this. Now, the one that you cut off the top has got the nice curved end, so don't throw it away, because what we can do is we can use the curve, because I tried using my corner rounder to do this and I didn't like it, so I just took that and used it as a template to round the corners nicely. That looks better, doesn't it? And this one's already rounded because it was on the corner. So that's what we'll do there. There's that sew again. Right, so then I'm going to take my really fine little scissors and I'm going to very, very gingerly. So I'm not good on going round, that's why I've got a corner puncher. That'll match beaut. And then do the same with this one. It's a bit awkward, but you can just manage it. Nice. There we go. Okay, so that's pretty good. And then when it's folded over, that will look like that. So I think the next thing I did, okay, we'll go back to our method. Cut tabs on top if the folder doesn't have them. Then we're going to sew the sides. But before we do the sides, this is where it's optional, but I think it might be easier if I ink. I've got a little bit of a ruler line there, so I might get a rubber. Yes. Oh dear. That'll make it look grungy and old, won't it? I've accidentally torn that a bit. Okay. Okay. Right. Yep, happy with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink around. all the edges. And you don't want to see that, so I'll be back in a minute. Okay, that took a bit of time, but I've inked around all the edges that you can visibly see, open and closed. So that's starting to look great. Now, step 3 is I'm going to sew the side edges, and I'm going to put my seam binding between them so that they're stitched in automatically. So I reckon about half. I just eyeball it, and before I'll just try and be a little bit clearer. I know I can rush when I get so excited. So I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch it from here to here. It's not too close to the edge, but that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to go this side and stitch from here to here. So if you're not stitching, you just glue that shut nice, and if you're gluing, just give it a little bit of extra glue because you don't want it to, come apart. And before I go to the sewing machine, what I like to do is just take a bit of glue, stick glue, nice and dry, and just put it where I think I want it. So I just eyeball it. I think that looks a good spot there. I'm just going to give it some help so it doesn't move on me, and then that will be stitched in. It'll look neat and tidy, and it's not an afterthought then, is it? There's nothing worse than... Now you might want to know, I think I said before, but I'll just measure this, and the little side seam bindings are 9 inches long. So I'll just make sure that they're going to be nice and equal. And imperfect is good because it's supposed to be vintage. It's easy to rub off that glue too. There we go. So I've got them in position. Now I'm going to take it away to my sewing machine. I'll be back in a second. Right, we're back with the magic. So we've done it. I have. We've stitched it from there to there on the left, and that's nicely stitched in. And on the right, from there to there, and that's stitched in. Now we can move on to step 4. Right, so we've completed step 3, which was sew the side edges, place seam binding between so they'll be strong, check. Now we're going to cover the whole lot with book pages, which is step 4. Now you might be saying, well, why don't I go straight in and put digitals down? And I never do that. I might have done that actually on the back because it covered the whole lot. But for everything else, I've put in the book pages, and even if it ends up you only see a tiny little bit, it A, strengthens the folder, which is pretty flimsy, and B, it gives it that look of being, what's the word? You know what I mean. Layered. That's it, layered. And also I reckon it makes it look more authentic. So if you've got good big book pages, that's all the go, I reckon. So I don't know how much of this to show you. I might do one because it's an awful lot to cover. These encyclopedia pages were really nice and thin, so they're perfect for this. Absolutely perfect. So what I'll do is I like to tear everything with a ruler because it makes the gluing down so better. I reckon there. And a lot of it's guesstimating. That looks amazing. I might take that off. That's perfect. just take that off. Down there. That's also, I've also left those side bits on with the holes in them because that's lovely texture. But I think I'll just glue that down, and it's up to you, but I do like to just run my vintage photo along the edges of that paper. Even though it's ever so slight, it's another detail. There we go. So don't forget, there's going to be envelopes glued here, but that's all right because they can go straight on here, and then we'll put the tie in here as well. But I still think it should be covered because there'll be decorative paper go over the top of this anyway. And for this, I'm just going to use art glitter glue. I was going to start working on this tutorial yesterday, which was Saturday, but I had there's this wonderful old replica 15th century sailing ship in our river, and it goes up and down. It's called, what's it called, Notorious, and it is all hewn. It's got pitch and huge timber and 2 sails. It's painted all black. And it looks like a pirate ship, but it's an exact replica of a 15th century sailing, ship. Anyway, so it was only $6 admission to go and have a look at it. So my husband said, "Oh, come on, I really want to do this," and I said, "Okay." And it was fascinating. It really was. The smell of those timbers, and it was so small. It was so small, smaller than what I'd imagined. Okay, so that is the first one done. I'm going to do both insides. Not sure about the back. I'll make a decision on the back, but I'll definitely do the rest, and then I'll be back with you in a moment. Right, and I'm back. I've even got a coffee, so I'll just sit down, and I know I'm in frame. So what I have done is I have covered the inside with my old book pages and the front. So we're up to step 4. Now step 5 is glue back digital on the back cover. So I decided I wouldn't put down a book page on that because this is really thick, and this is a ruby and pearl digital. I just love that. I'll list all the digitals that I've used from Ruby and Pearl if you'd like down on the in the description box. But let's get this down because so as I was saying about the ship that's in our huge Clarence River at the moment, it is a replica 15th century caravel, and it took 10 years to build, out of mahogany. Would you believe? Mahogany. I mean, that's a lot of mahogany, I've got to say. It actually launched in 2011, and it sailed from Port Fairy in Victoria all the way to her maiden voyage was in January from Port Fairy. She sailed through Bass Strait. Now Bass Strait is one of the most arguably one of the most dangerous, treacherous pieces of water anywhere in the world. So she sailed through that, the Tasman and Coral Seas. Yeah, so I'm reading this from the thing, so that, because I found it so interesting and I thought maybe you would too. Where does it say? First week-long journey from Port Fairy to Geelong in January 2012. It was researched, designed and constructed single-handedly from reclaimed timber by Graham Wiley at his home near Warrnambool in Victoria. Wow. We met him and his wife, and look, I don't want to put an age on them, but they must be in their 70s now. And they do it between the two of them. Apparently it's got a motor, because I said, I'd love to see the sails unfurled as she sails, when are you leaving? So we can watch it sail out of the mighty Clarence. And she said, we don't unfurl the sails going up the rivers, because you've got to go under bridges and stuff. And she said, no, we use the small motor. And she said, we don't put the sails up until we get out to sea. I said, well, that must be so romantic, the sound of the wind in the sails. And she just looked at me, she said, the wind is deadly. The wind is so deadly. No, we don't like a headwind. But anyway, wouldn't it be amazing to go on it? But when we went on board and had a look, it was so cramped. And I said to them, back in 1500, how many crew could this fit? And he said there would have been 18 men, including the captain. And really, there was only one bunk on board in the tiny little captain's place. Isn't that beautiful? That's a lovely back cover. Right, so stop talking, Diane. I'll just get my thoughts together, and then we'll say a little bit more about the ship, because it really, really stirred my imagination. I've taken a lot of pictures, and I'm going to do a lot of sketches and a watercolor as soon as I can. I'm so excited about it. The only thing is, it's black. The sails are even black. I mean, in all the movies of the old pirates and the sailing ships, pretty much all the sails were white from my memory. But maybe that's just the movies. Because I said to him, would the sails have been black too? And he said, yes, but whether or not they were coated with some pitch, the same as, like that tarry pitch, so to stop them, or whether the canvas, when it's naturally produced, is black, I really don't know. So much to find out. Anyway, without boring you silly. Right, so we've done 5. Now we're up to step 6, where we glue the envelopes together. And this is the construction, isn't it? This is pretty much the most important part of the construction. We go back to the one that I completed earlier. You can see we have 3 on the left and 3 on the right, and then we cover it all in the middle. We hide this underneath all the paper so that it can tie. Right, so let's just to refresh your memory, let's get my envelopes. Now I chose, you might see this one on the front. Now I could have done a little shorty like that, but I thought if I take it a bit longer, as I had a really long envelope anyway, and I hardly ever use those, I thought if I take it a little bit longer, it holds it down, if that makes any sense. Just holds it down a little bit, whereas if I had a really short one, kind of sticks up and is uneven. So I liked that idea, but it's artist's choice, so you can do what you wish. But obviously we're going to have a bit larger one, a medium-sized one, and a smaller one on both sides. So I've got, now they've all got their flaps on. I've got a window faced. That's my long one. They were just, I don't know where I got those from, but they're a really good long one and they're really nice and flimsy. So all we're going to do is we're going to sort them into groups. So we'll have tall, medium. I'm just going to line them up like that. You can see what's going to happen there, can't you? And then the little one on the top. And they will, oh yep, that's a good length. I don't have to cut anything off. And they will open to the right. So all we're going to do is we're going to glue these three together. I like them like that, but you can stack them any way you want. So I'm just going to take my trusty glue and let's see, I'll just move that up there. So I'm just going to glue that to there like that. How easy is that? Ta-da! Then I'm going to glue this one to this little flap. So let's see, you can just mark on it so that you don't put glue where you don't want glue. So basically I'm just going to go in here with lots of glue and make it nice and strong. Like that. Just glue that down. And there we have it. Look at that. Okay. So that will go on that side. Probably just shy of the edge there. But what we have to do is we have to take our ribbon. Now, I'll measure actually what I decide to do, but I just kind of gauge. It'll go underneath there. It'll go down here, and the glue will hold it down so firmly. Then basically how much? It's better to have a little bit more. Now on the original, just I've got the bow here on the side for that one, and then I've sort of put that very close to it. And I don't mind that. I don't mind that. See, actually that's, you can see actually where that might be pulling a little bit there. So we might reinforce that, shall we? Okay, so I'm just going to see where that's there. I'm just going to bring it down just a tad, I think. I think that'll be enough. That'll be more than enough. Right, so I'll just guesstimate that. Probably about that. And then I'll measure it, and I mean, you could use string for this. You don't have to use the same as this is here. But I love seam binding. It's so soft. Okay, so let me measure it. It is 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 24, 26, 27. That's 28 inches there. Okay, so where's my glue stick? going to put it along here, I think. Straight along there. Find the middle. Find the middle, and then just lay it along. Ta-da! Look at that. Now this is where I might strengthen it. Before I put those envelopes down here, I might strengthen it. What would be the best thing to strengthen that with? Something. I wonder. Some fabric, some Tim Holtz fabric washi tape maybe. I could put that there and then one on this side, and I think that'd be really strong. Yeah, that's what it will do. Okay. I hardly ever use this tape, so it's good to use it. Right, how sticky is she? I suppose if you didn't have Tim Holtz, you could put another piece of ribbon going the other way, would be okay too. Or a bit of thin card. Just thinking on the go, making it up as I go along. And then if a little bit of the blue tape gets seen, that's cool. Okay, that's going to be really good. Excellent. Right. So let's see. We glue the envelopes down. Let's do it. Actually, now is a good time. That was a mistake I made yesterday. Now is a great time to just go around the outside of these envelopes while you can easily maneuver them front and back. Before decorating. You probably don't want to see me do all the inking, so I shall just pause you and I'll be back in a second. Okay, that took forever. So now it's all inked front and back, which will make it easier to when it comes time to decorate. So now to glue that down, I'm going to glue here all of the flaps. And my husband's just started to mow the lawn, so I hope that's not annoying because he's right under my window. There we go. That's why it's important, you know, to have a couple of envelopes with nice, if you can, get a nice deep, the nice triangular ones I like, because you've got all that more surface to glue down, which gives it a lot more, you know, better footing, more to hold on to, because they do carry a bit of weight when you start putting journal cards in. That gives it a lot of surface grip. I mean, if you wanted to, you could decorate them and then stick them down, but I don't worry about that. I like to do it all in situ. Oops, hang on. Yep, I think that's about good. Okay, so there we have our right ones on there. And then when we get the other side on, you can see then that it'll just be a matter of putting a pretty digital down in between, which will then secure them even more. So that's the right. Now the left. This is where I'm going to use this long one, so I'll have to chop him off. So we've got the tall one at the back, and then the medium sized one, and then the little one. Just have a look and see if I like the alignment. Actually, that can come up a little bit so that they're a bit more straddled. Yeah, I like that one in the middle. So I think we'll chop this long one off. I reckon about here. So it looks straight. And there we go. I've taken off a band-aid nice and quick. Okay, so let's get some glue down. We're spring in Australia, just in case you're not watching from Australia. So it's a cold day here today. It's one of those springs like all over the world. The weather's weird. We've had 30-degree days, and I think last night it got down really low. We froze. Yeah, so we just want it on here. I don't do well with working and talking so much. I need to concentrate. Lots of the glue. Right, there we have it. And then I'll just quickly ink. Okay, we've inked. Now we're going to put glue all over this and pop it down into position. I hope this tutorial is clear. That's the one thing you want in a tutorial, isn't it? Something clear that you can understand. I need I need clear instructions. Oh. Okay, right, so I'll just open that back up out of the way, and then I'm going to lay this where I want it. I hope I just didn't bump you out of sight there. We'll put it down there, I think. There we go. So now you can see the construction of the envelope. Stacked envelope. Of course, you could go grander with this, and you could put another envelope in here and another envelope in here. This will have to be cut. I haven't cut them because that's your decision how you'd like yours. I always like, well, in this instance, I like them on the side, but you could certainly do top. And you just cut them wherever you want them. Once you've decorated, you can make that decision. So yeah, so that is the basic construction. Now that was step 6. Glue 3 envelopes together. 2 of them. One set will open to the right, one set will open to the left. So we've done that. We've put the tie in first before we've glued them down, and then glue the envelopes down. And then step 8 is to glue a digital paper down to hide the flaps, which is in here. So I've got a beautiful one here. glue that down in here. I might go for something more neutral. I really like these because this is from the Dressmaker kit from Ruby and Pearl, and I really like it. It's just that neutral with interest. So I will now just get that to size. Let's see, move this down. I think that'll work. And make sure that it will cover just that. That's good. You see, had we not put the book pages down here, that would have been a mistake, because there's a tiny little piece showing through there. So doesn't it save us a lot now when we put this on? Actually, that needs to come off a bit, I think. Maybe this end, yeah. I think I might cut it. It's a bit too challenging. It's a bit too challenging. Don't like cutting. I'd rather tear any day. Okay. Yeah, that fits a bit better. And where will it be? There. I think that will be right. Sometimes you've got to be brave. Like fold, yes. Right. So that fits just nicely. And then we'll put a pocket in there when we come to craft with me. So I think that if you want to do a screenshot of those steps, and then you can put it in your sample book so that you can always come back to it and find it later. So yeah, take a screenshot of that, and hopefully that has been clear and not clear as mud. And I can't wait to see, and you've got to post your pictures on all the Facebook groups and let me know what yours turned out like, and did you go with a vintage vibe? Did you know, what kind of, what did you do with it? And did you add more envelopes? And what you thought? Yeah, just let me know, especially on my YouTube channel. Let me know what you thought of the tutorial in the comments. And thank you so much for all the new subscribers too. Wow, you guys rock. So yeah, I was so grateful. And yeah, let me know and have fun. And I'm gonna now go, when I decorate this, I think I'll do it as a craft with me, so that we'll just have, you know, a bit of fun on decorating and using papers and all of that. So hopefully you'll check that one out too, and let me know what you're doing, and yep, have fun. So see you later. Bye. See ya.